All right. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Happy Wife School Show. Happy Saturday. Happy weekend, wherever you are around the world. I'm excited to be here and get started. If you guys, as always, wouldn't mind just taking a moment and letting me know that you can see me, hear me, everything is working well out there. And then we will get started in our topic today. As always, I want to give a shout out and a big thank you to Phil, Evo, and Steve out there moderating the chat and keeping the chat constructive. So guys, make their job easy. Please be respectful, on topic, and supportive in the chat. And if you don't agree with my message, that's okay. Healthy debate is welcome, but this might not be the channel for you, and that's okay. That's a great thing about YouTube. There's lots of channels and perspectives out there, so you can find what works for you. So don't be here to be a troll or cause trouble. Or Phil, Steve, and Evo will be on it. So let's see, loud and clear. Thank you, Phil. Fantastic. And thank you all for being here today. I will look at the chat at the end of my show, and Evo is looking out for questions to send me so I can address some questions at the end of the show to make his job easy. It's best to put questions in at the end, since I'm going to look at the chat then. And if you can put like an all caps question or a small super chat is great, because it stands the question out with lots of bright colors. So save those toward the end, or if you put them in the middle of the show, make it clear so Evo can capture those, and then he emails them to me and I look at them that way. But I'm so happy you guys are here. And we are going to be talking about today hurt in relationships and how to forgive and let go. And the reason I want to talk about this is this has been a really, really important part of my own journey as a woman and as a human, to be able to grow into the best version of myself, to be able to live my own core values and virtues, to be able to be kind, to be able to grow and learn through life and not suppress emotional pain. And recently I've been doing more work on hurts, because as you will find as we get into the show today, that as women, we make hurt very, very complicated and have a lot of suppressed hurt that we have collected through the years, starting with our families, with first relationships, of course, with our husbands, with our kids, with friends. We get hurt very, very easily as women, and we hold on to a lot. So I'm a work in progress, as you guys know, as we all are, that I don't claim to be perfect or above the things I talk about on my channel, that I am human, not a machine. And I'm committed to myself to keep growing in life and growing in myself and continue to evolve as a woman and keep growing toward the best version of myself, which means I got plenty more work to do and will throughout my life. And so recently I've been given the gift to go deeper into myself and look at hurt. So it's been a topic that has been on my mind and has been very close to me and a very important part of my own journey. And so I want to share a bit of that with you today. And where we're going to go first is just talking about what is hurt, and understanding what hurt is, and how women and men experience hurt differently. And as my mentor and I meet, I work with my mentor and his partner, Peggy, and a close friend and colleague of mine, Josie, which you guys know she's moderated before. And she has a wonderful YouTube channel that she's getting started. It's Escape the Alternative Health Matrix. So if you haven't, go check her channel out. She's got an incredible perspective on autoimmune disease and chronic illnesses and mental health. So if you haven't checked out her channel, you should. Josie's incredible at what she does and very passionate as well, and a wonderful presenter in her videos. But we all work here in an office, and David and I, that's my mentor, we get together usually Fridays and Saturday mornings to start preparing for my live show. And as we were talking about this concept of hurt today, I was talking about my hurts and the things that have hurt me through my life, whether it be from my husband or family members or friends or total strangers I've never even met. He was like, I am overwhelmed. He said, I feel really bad for you women. He said it because my experience as a good man with hurt is very different. And wow, I had no idea you guys were holding on to so much inside of you and have made hurt so convoluted. So we had a good chuckle. So I want to spend some time talking about those differences and helping women understand our hurts, and also helping the good men out there understand the complexity of a woman's hurt and why your wife can be hurt so easily. Then we are going to get into how to forgive and let go, and what the solution to hurt is, whether you are a man or a woman. So this is a broader topic for everybody today. And let's start with a little bit about what hurt is. And like I said, hurt's different for men than it is for women. So a more what I know in working with men, and like I said, talking with my mentor this morning, knowing myself as a woman working with women, they're different. And so a simple definition of hurt, before we get into the complexity of a woman's hurt, a simple definition of hurt is when we're hurt by someone, it is a betrayal and a loss of trust from someone that we have an emotional connection and attachment to. So I understand for good men, hurt really more comes from close friends, from family, of course, from your wife, potentially your kids, and they tend to be tied to more major life events or major circumstances that hurt will stem from. As women, our hurt is much more complex. Our hurt stems from a betrayal and loss of trust, but also we hold on to hurts that have happened that threaten our sense of safety and security. And we also hold on to hurts that stem from being shamed and words or actions that are directed to our insecurities. So whereas a man's list of hurts that he hasn't let go of might be a short list, as women, in the complexity we make hurt, our list is very long. You can't even see my other hand. So when we look at that simple definition of hurt, and I'll talk about men first, that for men, it's in my understanding and in my conversations with my mentor and the men that I have worked with, there's not an understanding of what do I do with this hurt, and how do I truly let go and forgive. And so men tend to more stuff their hurt, but don't act out maliciously with the hurt that they have. And as we get into women, we'll see that's very different. And some examples of what hurts a good man might be holding on to or might be suppressing, like I said, is going to be with more close friends, family, his wife, major life events. And please, of course, share in the chat what experiences of hurt you have had that you feel comfortable sharing. But thinking of clients and students I've worked with, hurts can happen when a brother puts his wife and family before the family unit, or a mother showing favoritism, or a mother shunning a son because she doesn't approve of his life path or the choices and decisions she is making and feels hurt and betrayed by him, so she hurts back. A good man might be hurt by a dad who doesn't support his direction of life, or and of course the hurts that happen in marriage for a good man, a wife not understanding and accepting a good man for who he is, of course his wife having an affair or an emotional affair, and the emasculation that a wife creates in the marriage with her husband, and the withholding. So the withholding of love, affection, touch, sex, intimacy. Those are the things that a good man will often be hurt by and doesn't know what to do with. So they get stuffed. And really, hurt for both men and women is created. The context for hurt is created out of the expectations that we have of another and how they should behave or respond in a relationship. That's really the basis of hurt, is our expectations that don't get met, that then create a sense of emotional hurt within us. And we feel that betrayal in the relationship and a loss of trust. So I thought I'd give just a few more examples of expectations that get dashed in relationships and life that create hurt. The expectation that we should always get together and go visit with family around the holidays. And if you don't go visit and don't go be with your family around the holidays, that can create a lot of hurt within the family. We have expectations that we should always support and validate a person's feelings and stance in an event or circumstance. Even if you don't agree or you have a different opinion, that you're always supposed to have somebody's back, regardless of their experience and whether you agree or not. We have expectations that you shouldn't or can't say hurtful things in a fight or a bad argument. Expectations that you should always remember every anniversary. And guys, no, you should remember that anniversary of the day that you met, or bigger anniversaries like a wedding anniversary. You should always remember a birthday. And if you don't, or you happen to forget a special date or a birthday, oh my gosh, watch out. Of course, infidelity or emotional affairs, the expectations that our friends should always be loyal to us. And so if a friend talks behind our back, we can get very hurt. And these are just different examples. So now I want to get into a little bit more about the complexity of a woman's hurt and why women get so easily hurt. And this is for us as women to understand, and also for the men out there to understand. It can be a total crazy making, the things that we get hurt by and then lash out and are very angry. And then for us as women, we really hold on to our hurts. One of my students recently gave me a great word, so I like to use it now, but the Rolodex. Women have a Rolodex of hurts. And when I've looked at my Rolodex of hurts, not just in my marriage, but through life, my Rolodex of hurts went back to when I was like 4 or 5 years old. And the vivid memories I would have of getting hurt. I remember there's a girl I went to school with, and I was in 3rd grade. And I was in 2nd grade and she was in 3rd grade. And she came up to me one day in the cafeteria and told me that I had the ugliest eyes she had ever seen. And I held on to that for a long time. And that happened when I was like 7 years old. And so our Rolodex of hurt as women is forever and a day old. And we will pull those hurts up and use them and retaliate from them very, very quickly. So a woman's definition of hurt, like I said, is much broader. I'll repeat it. That as women, our hurts stem from really a loss of trust and betrayal, but also any time that our sense of physical or emotional safety and security is threatened, we hold on to hurts from that. And then a big one for us also is shaming. Any words or actions done or said that is directed towards our insecurities within ourselves. And so as women, we can hold on to the most seemingly insignificant and minor hurts because we take each hurt in our life as women and we use it as a brick to build the wall around us to keep people at an arm's length and not let people into our heart. And so that's why we collect this Rolodex of hurts and things that seem really kind of silly and dumb. we hold on to, and that hurt stays very, very, very alive within us. And the deeper experience of hurt for us as women, and why we get so hurt by people's words and actions, and, of course, especially in a marriage, is we already, and I talk about this a lot through my different videos and shows, we already feel bad about ourselves on the inside. And different choices and decisions we make that dismiss who we are, that disregard who we are, create a sense of feeling bad about ourselves. And so we also carry insecurities of the things we think make us broken and defective in life, that we really have this fundamental belief that there is something deeply wrong with who we are, and we very much struggle feeling not enough in life. And so when we get hurt, whether that be through our husband's actions or words, or a bad fight, or something happens with a family member, what's going on more deeply that we get so hurt so easily is that it validates, when someone hurts us, it validates how badly we feel about ourselves. And it becomes the evidence we use that there is something wrong with us, and there is something broken and defective about us. And that's part of why we get so easily hurt. What I've had to see about myself and work with other women, and the reason we get so hurt in a marriage, I mean, as I was looking through this and remembering the things that I have been hurt by in my marriage by my husband, who has wonderful intentions, is a very good man, would never, ever maliciously or intentionally hurt me. It was kind of mind-boggling of like, why did that hurt me so bad? But what I teach and what I know through my own experience is that as women, we really create a deep codependency in our marriages and other relationships too, but very much with our husbands, we create this codependency where we just become just totally enmeshed in our husbands and want our husbands to fill the emptiness within us that they never can. And we expect our husbands to be everything for us that we are unwilling or unable to be for ourselves. And so the codependency we create of needing our husbands to make us feel safe, to make us feel okay, to make us feel loved, to make us feel wanted and desired, that when our husbands can't do that for us, or they have something going on for themselves that they're working through, it becomes, again, this betrayal of trust that I can't count on you to be who I need you to be for me. There's a massive, massive expectation of who we need our husbands to be to fill that hole within us, or to fill that emptiness. And no matter what a good man tries to make us happy, to be there for us, to make us feel safe and secure, to make us feel loved, because we don't have that within ourselves, it is never enough. And so we see through the lens that you can't be that for us, and that you have betrayed us in this ability to be who we need you to be. And it's the deepest betrayal through our lens and eyes as women that we can go through. And that's why we become so selfish and so self-centered in the relationship, that I was thinking through, the times that I have not been at my best in my marriage, and that I would pull things out of my husband. My husband had a job for a while that was very taxing. It was a very toxic environment, and it was very difficult for him emotionally. And he went through a period of just being very challenged and depressed through the experience he was having at work. And one day I came home and I could see he was really visibly upset. And he just shared, he's like, I don't know how much longer I can do this. And it was just sharing about how he was feeling about his life. And I just spun that and made it all about me, of like, well, is our life not enough for you? Am I not enough for you? That's how codependent we are as women, that we will turn what you are going through as men onto us and be hurt when you're going through something difficult that has absolutely nothing to do with us, but we will make it about us and then feel hurt that you're depressed or you're going through a challenging time with work or a challenging time with family. And we collect that and live in that. It's almost as if we are an insecure child in an adult world, taking everything you do, everything you say, everything you don't say or do as a personal attack on us. And then we never let go. So a very fundamental difference between good men and women is that a good man, of course, can be hurt and doesn't always know what to do with that hurt and how to let go, and will suppress it, and then might disengage from the relationship, might withdraw, might do things outside of his character. But it's never meant as a malicious attack or retaliation against his wife for how she has hurt him. For us as women, because of our walls and the justification that we feel in our hurt, we never let hurt go. And we maliciously retaliate and weaponize our hurt against our husbands and other people in our lives too. There's a retaliation, there's a revenge. And when we slow down and can look underneath the justifications and entitlement we feel to hurt back, it's very intentional. And when we slow down, we know what we are doing. And that's why if a good man makes a mistake in a marriage, his wife can come back tenfold and retaliate in very vicious, cruel ways through withholding, through emasculating, through stonewalling, being the ice queen. And it's very confusing to a good man because in general, especially with the day-to-day things that can hurt, have a much easier time and a much shorter memory to be able to forget and to let go. And I think it's important. And another reason I wanted to talk about this today, that for both men and women, we have to look at our hurts and we have to learn a genuine process to be able to forgive and to be able to let go, because suppressed hurt, it leads to resentment, which is poison to a relationship. If we don't resolve our hurts, that's creating the lens of which we see the relationship. It creates the lens of which we see life. And so it's very important, I would say very critical as women, we learn a process of letting go and forgiving, because not only do we have that suppressed hurt, but we can be so vicious in our retaliation of the hurt that we hold inside. And for a good man, letting go of hurt in his life, whether that be with his family or friends, but most certainly in his marriage with his wife, is that it allows him to regain his strength, because the retaliation of hurt from his wife against him for the hurt she feels is what can emasculate a good man and strip him of his power, and he unknowingly gives his power away to his wife. It's part of why a woman can instigate a fight in the relationship and provoke her husband to respond in negative ways and negative reactions, and yet he'll be the one to come around and apologize. And yet as women, we will never apologize, or if we do, we don't mean it. It's not genuine. And it's because we feel so justified in our retaliation in the ways that we hurt back, and other reasons we don't want to apologize that I'm not going to get into today. That's another video for another time. But it's very, very important for us as women, especially because of the Rolodex of hurts we hold on to, but also for men to really be able to have a way to forgive and let go genuinely. And so that's where I'd like to go next. Now that we've looked a little bit about the differences between hurt for good men and hurt for women, let's start to get into how do we let go of hurt? And I really want to give some framework around this. And this has been my journey and path. And the first place I want to go that I've been talking about through many of my videos is camp victim versus camp take responsibility. One of the first things that we need to know in order to let go of hurt and to be able to forgive is that hurt is a normal part of life. Being hurt is a normal part of life. There is no way to go through life without getting hurt. The only way that we could go through life without getting hurt is to live an incredibly small, isolated life where we do not interact with others and we do not interact with the world is about the only way that we would go through life without getting hurt. So we have to first really accept that hurt is a normal part of life, and that we have to learn to use the hurts we've gone through in life, whether that is in marriage, whether that's with our families, whether it's with our kids or with friends. We have to learn to embrace hurt as a window into ourselves to expose our own insecurities, our own weaknesses that we have within ourselves that allows us to feel so hurt. And we also have to embrace it as a window into what are the unrealistic expectations that we have in life and have in our relationships that set us up to get hurt. We want to understand that when we are hurt and we suppress our hurt and we don't let go and we don't find a way to forgive, we are only hurting ourselves. Because when we live in that internal hurt and we have those suppressed hurts, the poison is within us, because we have to keep that emotional charge alive, and it becomes a defense mechanism in life to protect ourselves from life. So when we are hurt and we hold on to that hurt, we only hurt ourselves. And then that is then what leads a path to then we are potentially hurtful to others. And that's where I have the thumbnail for today. Hurt people hurt people. When we hold on to our hurt, we become hurtful to ourselves, but we are also hurtful to others. And when we suppress and hold on to that hurt, we give the power away to the other person. That we stay in that internal hurt within ourselves. And we've given the power away to the person that has hurt us to have that kind of control over us, to have that internal hurt. And then what happens is our suppressed hurt becomes a lens for life. And we view life and we view our different relationships through that lens of hurt, and we never experience life for what it truly is. And this is the experience of living in camp victim when we don't work through our hurts, when we don't let go and we don't forgive. In camp victim, something has been done to me, or someone has done something to me that has caused me to be hurt. And that's the experience of myself. It's happened to me. That's where we've given our power away and we have no control to move forward and we have no control to change. And as a victim, blaming others for our experience of hurt, as a victim, we actually want to keep our hurts alive and we want to keep them as a protective mechanism in life. As women, the protective mechanism is we build the walls around our heart. And that's what allows us to keep people at an arm's length and never let people into our heart. And like I said before, men often don't know what to do with the emotional hurt, so they suppress, but that will also create a sense of being a victim in life. There is no forgiveness. There is no genuine forgiveness in camp victim. Because it is through the lens that this has been done to me, and I forgive someone for doing this to me and making me feel this way, but then there's no genuine ability to really truly let go because it's happened to us and we've given that power away. So we will often tell ourselves that we have forgiven someone, but if we're still in camp victim, we haven't truly forgiven, we have just suppressed. So the only way to truly, truly, truly forgive in life is to live in camp take responsibility. And we never knew that we had a choice to actually embrace hurt in life and grow and learn from it, to accept hurt as a part of life, as a part of marriage, as a part of family, as just a part of living in this world. That hurt is a part of it. And we, like I did, have to be given a choice to either be a victim to that hurt, and this has happened to me, or to live in a place of taking responsibility of what is it about me? What's the insecurity within myself? What are the unrealistic expectations that I have that have caused me to feel so hurt? It doesn't mean that people haven't done hurtful things, or a good man with his wife who is withholding, that is cruel and vicious. But we have to find a way of, how do I take responsibility for my experience so that I can move forward and heal and not have that weakness in me? And that's why forgiveness only happens in camp take responsibility. Because when we forgive, yes, the other person gets the benefit, but living in camp take responsibility, I have to and can only forgive for myself because of the kind of person that I want to be and who I want to know myself as. Then forgiveness is something that I do for myself, and the other person gets the benefit. And the only way to forgive for myself is to want to be introspective and reflective of, what is this about me? Doesn't take away that someone maybe did something hurtful or betrayed or betrayed your trust, but to be able to look within yourself of, what is this weakness in myself, and where's my unrealistic expectation? I like to say that if this hand represents our unrealistic expectations in life and different relationships, and this hand represents the reality of life, that life is not fair, and there's all kinds of hurts that are going to happen in life. But the further away our unrealistic expectations are from reality, in the gap between these two is what creates all of my emotional turmoil and all of my emotional hurt. When I can see the reality of life and reality of relationships and close this gap, that's where I actually resolve my hurt and resolve my emotional experience. So the resolution of hurt is forgiveness. But the problem is, we've never been truly, truly taught how to forgive. And because when we live in camp victim, we hold on to our hurts and become righteous in our hurts. And they create our martyrdom and our poor me. And they serve a very important role and purpose in our lives, because it's what allows us to shield ourselves from life and shield ourselves in our different relationships, and not embrace the reality of life and run into the hurt to grow and learn from it. So how do we forgive? How do we forgive? So in order to really, truly be able to forgive, you must want to be a person of character and integrity who wants to forgive. It has to be important to you. And what I understand and believe is that forgiveness is one of the highest values and highest virtues that we can have in our human experience. And like I said before, it's something that we do for ourselves to grow and learn. And then the other person and other people get the benefit of it. So I want to share with you guys today, I've mentioned this before, and certainly my students know about this story. But the process that really taught me to forgive, that I like to teach others, that allows us to be in camp take responsibility and move out of camp victim when it comes to our hurts, is a lovely little parable and book. I'm not going to read the whole thing. I'm going to paraphrase it, but there are a couple pages that I will read that I think are important. But it is a lovely, lovely parable and story. It's actually a children's book, and it is called The Little Soul and the Sun. And when I learned about this book early on in my journey of what I get to teach now, it was the first time, because I had already been learning to live in camp take responsibility. I was already learning to let go of being a victim in my marriage and with my family. So I was already kind of primed and had the foundation laid to be open to the story and really see it as a practical tool of forgiveness. And it was so important to me because I never really understood forgiveness. I knew it was something that was very important and what I wanted to strive for. But no matter how I would try to forgive in my life, the hurt was still alive in me, and there was still an emotional charge. So this book and this story became very tangible to me. And as a typical woman who had so many hurts, it was such a relief and such a freedom to know there was actually a path forward and actually a way to truly, truly let go. So I'd like to paraphrase the story a little bit for you, and then I encourage you to order the book. I think it's like $15, $17 on Amazon, and it's lovely. The pictures are lovely, and it's just a very sweet story with a very, very powerful message. So The Little Soul and the Sun, I'm going to paraphrase, and like I said, there's a couple pages I'll read that I think are important. But The Little Soul and the Sun is about a soul in God's kingdom. And one day he comes to God, and he is so excited because he finally knows that he is the light. And God chuckles and is, of course you are the light. All I make is light. And the little soul runs off all excited that he knows he is the light. And a little while later, he comes back to God and a little perplexed and says, well, I know I'm the light, but I want to know what it's like to be the light. And God gets a little complexed and like, well, what do you mean? You already are the light. He said, yeah, but I really want to know what it feels like. And God says, well, in order to really be the light and really experience yourself as the light, then you will need darkness. And this is a page that I'm gonna read that God is sharing why the little soul needs darkness to really know himself as the light. He says, so since you cannot see yourself as the light when you are in the light, because in God's kingdom all there is light, God says, we will surround you with darkness. And the little soul asks, what is darkness? And God replies, it is that which you are not. And the little soul says, okay. And God explains that in order to experience anything at all, the exact opposite of it will appear. It is a great gift, God said, because without it, you could not know what anything is like. You could not know what anything is like. You cannot know warm without cold, up without down, fast without slow. You cannot know left without right, here without there, now without then. And so God concluded, when you are surrounded with darkness, do not shake your fist and raise your voice and curse the darkness. Rather be a light unto the darkness and don't be mad about it. Then when you really know, then you will know who you really are. And all others will know too. Let your light shine so that everyone will know how special you are. And they continue to talk, and God asks the little soul, what kind of special do you want to know yourself as? Because the little soul is preparing to come into a human life. And the little soul thinks of the different ways he can know itself as special, that he can know itself as special as being kind, as being brave and courageous, as being friendly, as having empathy, as having care and consideration for others. And he finally stumbles across what he wants to learn, the kind of special he wants to know himself as in his light. And he gets very excited and he says, I want to know myself as forgiveness. And God says that's a beautiful, special gift to know yourself as. He said, there's one problem. In order to know yourself as forgiveness, you will need someone in your life to forgive. And so another little soul pipes up and she says, I'll be the one. I'll be the one that you can forgive. And these two little souls make an agreement and a pact to come into life and learn from each other. And that this other little soul will be the darkness for the other little soul to be able to forgive. And God speaks up as they are having this conversation and making this agreement and says it is very important that you know all I send are angels. And so that they prepare to go into this life. And I want to read the very last page. And so the agreement was made, and the little soul went forth into a new lifetime, excited to be the light, which was very special, and excited to be that part of special called forgiveness. And the little soul waited anxiously to be able to experience itself as forgiveness. And to thank whatever other soul made it possible. And at all the moments in that new lifetime, whenever a new soul appeared on the scene, whether that new soul brought joy or sadness, and especially if it brought sadness, the little soul thought of what God had said. Always remember, God had smiled. I have sent you nothing but angels. And that is the process that taught me to forgive, to no longer look at how people had hurt me as a smite against me or something done to me and being a victim to it, but to embrace it as a gift that that person has been exactly who I asked them to be, so that I can become who I am in my light, and I can become who I am meant to be and who God created me to be, that I could never become without the adversities and hurt through life. This is the process of letting go. That we can only let go when we embrace the hurts and adversities that have happened in our lives as a gift, whether you want to see that as a gift from God or a gift from life, wherever your beliefs lie. When we embrace it as a gift, as the adversities that we need in our life to know ourselves and our highest values and virtues that are important to us, whether that be forgiveness, whether it be kindness, whether it be empathy, whether it be courage and bravery, whether it be hope, whether it be fortitude or grace or wisdom, that we must have the exact opposite appear for us to find that strength and truth within ourselves. And in that way, there become no enemies. There become no one out there that is against us to push us down and bring us down. Only angels who we have asked to come and be exactly who they are, so we could find the strength and belief in ourselves to find who we are in our light. And for me, there is no greater strength than being able to take the high road, than being able to respond with kindness and acceptance in the face of hurt or in the face of someone doing something that feels like a betrayal. When I can find that depth of strength in myself and respond in my light, in the gifts that I have, that we all have in ourselves, if we are willing to find them, then there never becomes anyone that I need to hold anything against. And forgiveness becomes, and the process of letting go becomes, thank you for giving me this opportunity to grow and learn within myself and become stronger in who I am and become who I am meant to be. In that it becomes incredibly difficult when we can do that genuinely from our hearts, and we can do that genuinely from Camp Take Responsibility. We will know no greater strength than the ability to embrace hurts and embrace adversities to grow and learn. And then it's almost as if forgiveness isn't even necessary, because we see it as an angel, we see it as a teacher that we needed in our lives. So I wanted, in wrapping up, I want to share with you guys a very touching story of exactly what I shared with you, the process of forgiving and the process of letting go in real action. And this is a story that I'm going to share, an email, a little bit of an email. I won't share the whole thing, but when I first started my channel back in August, a gentleman reached out, and he was really hurting because his wife was dying of cancer. And he related to all of what I have been sharing in my videos and the hurts and experiences he had with his wife as a good man. And he reached out asking me, can you please meet with us? I want to be able to resolve these issues so that she can go in peace and I can be in peace. And I had about a 30-minute conversation with this man. And I shared with him the little soul and the son, and that the true path forward for him and his wife to have resolution in their marriage as she was on her way out of this life was forgiveness and acceptance. And I'd say probably a few weeks or a month after I had that phone call, I got this email, and I was so touched by it. And it's such a wonderful expression of what I've been talking about today, in the process of letting go and the process of forgiveness. And this man wrote, I'm not going to read all of it. I'll read the parts that are relevant to what we're talking about today. But he said, I wanted to let you know that my wife finished her battle with cancer yesterday, and she is no longer in pain anymore. You will also be happy to know that she and I were able to talk before she left us about a good many things. All those unresolved, unreconciled issues we had in our marriage, while not able to be fully addressed and fixed, were able to be forgiven. During that brief conversation you and I had, you made it plain to me that the only way now, given the circumstances and shortened timeline, that these issues would ever be resolved was if they were forgiven. Once you made that clear to me and pointed me to the little soul and the son, I was able to see my wife in a completely different way. True forgiveness of her actions had always been difficult for me to do because I wanted the issues fixed, not forgiven. However, thanks in no small part to the talk you had, and as well as the little soul, I found it now incredibly easy to forgive her and to also forgive myself for my many shortcomings when it came to how I dealt over the years with the issues that arose in our marriage. And he put in all caps, what a moment of liberation. And this was his experience of his wife after that. After 25 years of marriage to that wonderful lady, I was now able to see her as exactly the right person, performing exactly the right actions that I needed in order for her to teach me how to truly forgive someone. It renewed a feeling of love and appreciation for her that I had not had in 15 plus years. The weight and burden of all those unresolved issues and perceived slights and disrespects were in an instant gone. And that's the power. Thank you to that person for that lovely email and sharing your experience. That's the power of when we can genuinely embrace the hurts and the people who have hurt us the most as angels or teachers in our lives, and see how we can grow and learn from that experience, why it was perfect for us and purposeful for us, that we can let go in an instant and the hurt be completely gone because we see the meaning and purpose of what that experience was supposed to be for us in this life. So thank you so much for joining me today. This was a topic I was looking forward just to teaching about and having a teaching moment for all of us today, because we all struggle with hurt and really knowing how to truly forgive. So I hope this spoke to you and gave you a path forward to be able to forgive and let go of the hurts that you may be holding on to. If you haven't already, please like this video, consider sharing it if you know someone who could benefit from this message. And thank you guys so much. We got over 80,000 subscribers this week, so we are working towards 100,000, and I'm just feel very blessed and humbled about how quickly that has happened, and no small part and thanks to you for sharing the channel, for being an incredible audience and giving me a platform to share these important messages and help us heal in our marriages, but also just heal as humans and women and men, and live who we were meant to be, and the strength that we have. So I'm going to take a second now. That story always gets me a little choked up. I know you guys, as you get to see me get teary quite a bit in these shows, but it comes from a good place of vulnerability and being able to live what I teach, and having these messages be so near and dear to my heart, and having the incredible honor to work with others and see how this path works in their lives and their marriages too. So I am just gonna take a look here. I am going to pull up. Evo, I know, is in the process probably of sending an email or two with questions and comments. Yeah. Oh, great question, Luke. Hi, Luke. Thanks for being here and all of your support. I'm going to get into some questions here. Luke says, why can you validate the insecurity? Tell them they are enough no matter what, but it still is not enough. Wonderful, wonderful question. Thank you so much. If we do not individually, so I'll just speak from my own experience here to answer this question. Until I was able to feel enough in myself, which that looked very different than what I thought it would be from my mind. I thought I would feel enough if I checked the boxes in life, if I accomplished the things I set out to accomplish. But it never did, because all those things were external of me, until I started to be aware of my choices and decisions in life and be committed to myself to show up as the best that I can be, and be committed to doing my best and living a life of character and integrity. It was through that process that I finally began to know I am enough, just as who I am as Karen, that I am enough. It wasn't not until that I could, and I felt good about myself and validated myself. It wasn't until that point that I could be that for me, that then I could hear my husband and let in his validations and compliments of who I am and how he saw me. I could never see how my husband saw me, which was even in my bad behaviors and toxic behaviors before I learned to outgrow those and do better. And I'm, again, not always perfect. He still always saw the wonderful parts of who I was. But I felt so bad about myself because of all the things I knew I wasn't doing and all the ways that I was showing up that were not in alignment with who I wanted to be, or being the good person I knew I could be. So I could never hear my husband. He could tell me I was beautiful all day. He could tell me how all the wonderful things he saw about me. but I could never hear him because I didn't have it within myself and in my relationship with me. But once I began to develop that, that's when I could actually hear his praise and and see the wonderful things he saw about me. I could finally see about myself. So men, that's why compliments you give to your wife go completely over her head, or she'll argue with you and tell you, well, I don't see that and that can't be true, because she doesn't have it and know it within herself in her relationship with herself. So that, just very simply, you can't validate someone in who they are if they are not able to validate themselves. It's impossible. It's just throwing your actions and words into an empty bucket, and it just leaks right out. So thank you for that question. That's a great question. So, oh, thanks, Jennifer. First time on your live. Love your mentoring videos. Thank you so much for your comment. Hi, Karen. Just want to say thank you for everything you do. You're very, very welcome. Hi, Karen. Alberto here from a little village in Italy. So nice to have you. I have to say publicly, thank you to your videos. I can understand what is happening with my wife. Thank God I found your channel. I'm so happy you are here. And I look forward to meeting with you in a few weeks. Oh, great. Michael Sawyer. Hurt is a normal part of life. Mic drop. Oh, good. It is. It is. There's no way we can escape it. So thank you guys so much for your comments. I'll just, I think that's all I see there in terms of questions. Thanks for that question, Luke. One just popped up as I pulled the chat up. Karen, do you think what you speak about applies to all cultures and other countries? Yes, I do. That is my belief. I work with people all over the world and have for a few years now. And I see the same issues and challenges pop up universally between women and good men, even in cultures where different people who have a belief that going to a different country where women have more traditional values, that these issues don't arise, that I work with people from those cultures who have these same issues and challenges. And one of the quotes that I like to know that these issues are universal and have been around for a very, very long time, the dynamics between women and men, is a quote from Solomon of, I will paraphrase here, but something: I would rather sleep on the pitch of a roof than in the bedroom with a quarreling wife. So there are other philosophers and other quotes like that from all different time periods all over the world that also, for me, validate and give credibility to that these are universal. These are universal issues. So that has been my experience, and some people have a different opinion, and that's all right. Hi, Salty Combat Diver. Nice to have you on the chat today. I love seeing all the regular names pop up. Joe, even if your wife refuses to watch for herself, you can now hear your wife's words through the filter lens of Karen's teaching. That is wonderful. That's a really, really, really good perspective. And as I wrap up here, I just want to give a thank you to our moderators today, Phil, Steve, and Evo. Thank you guys so much for keeping an eye out in the chat and keeping it a nice place for everyone to be able to come together and have a supportive community. And Phil, thank you so much for your generosity today. I really appreciate that. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap up. I hope you have a happy Easter and a wonderful weekend. I'm going to get wrapped up here and go out and enjoy the beautiful weather here in Denver today and get into my weekend. So thank you guys so much for giving me the platform and audience to be able to share this important message today, and be safe out there. And I'll see you guys next week. Thanks so much. Bye.